Good morning. It's Friday, August 12th. And on Wednesday, Janet Yellen, who was the Secretary of the Treasury, sent a letter to the Commissioner of the Internal Revenue Service, telling him the rules for tax audits in upcoming years. And she specified that the money that was put into the Inflation Reduction Act, the $80 billion for the Income Tax Service, to hire more employees so that they could do more audits. And those audits are to be confined to people that earn more than $400,000 a year. And why did she have to write this letter? She had to write this letter because the Republicans quickly attacked the bill, claiming that the $80 billion that was put into that bill for these additional audits would be used against the middle and the low income families, that they were going to be subject to these audits. And so Yellen had to go out publicly and put this letter out and let everybody know that this letter was written, because the Republicans lied. There was no way that they were going to issue more audits to middle and low income families. And let's face it, the Republicans are not the greatest payers in the world. The majority of the red states have very low minimum wages. In some of the low states, some of those red states, the minimum wage is $5.15. That's the state thing. But they have to abide by the federal rule of 7.25. So you see, the Republicans have a dual purpose in bringing this thing up. They're trying to convince their people, the people who listen to them, that the Democrats are out to screw the poor. And there's nothing further than that from the truth. And maybe they just want to do this to get in attention and make people believe that they are trying to do the right thing for the populations that reside in the low-income states. Probably now that Yellen wrote this letter, the Republicans will take credit for forcing her to write this letter. They'll say if they hadn't attacked the bill, then Yellen probably wouldn't have written the letter, and the low-income families and the middle-income families would have been screwed and audited during the tax season. So the Republicans are a devious bunch. They had to win in this situation no matter which way they told the story. But that story had to get out. Yellen had to write this letter, and it's a good thing that she did. Now, the $80 billion is spread over 10 years. It's not $80 billion a year. And in the letter, it said that the audit focus should be on high-end non-compliance. And that means businesses and individuals earning $400,000 a year or more. So this $80 billion over the 10 years will be used to increase the staff of auditors in order to do the audits on the high-income earners. Now, one thing that bothers me is that the projected income realized from this $80 billion outlay is only going to be $124 billion over the same 10-year period. So we're investing $80 billion to make an extra $44 billion or so. That ratio doesn't seem right to me. It's like, what am I doing this for? I'm making bupkis on the deal. But the Democrats have also pitched that this is going to help offset the costs of their plan to lower prescription drug costs and to combat climate change. And I'm not so sure I would announce these numbers because they don't sound that great to me. So if I were the Republicans, that's what I would be attacking, instead of lying about low-income people being audited. Now, another area where the Republicans have lied is the number of employees that would be hired using this $80 billion. According to Ted Cruz and Kevin McCarthy, the IRS will hire 87,000 new IRS agents. But that's not true, because Reddick, the commissioner of the IRS, who was appointed by Donald Trump, and you know, the president can't fire him. It's one of those appointments that you get it and you keep it until you decide to retire. And then the president can replace you. But they can't replace you like they replace cabinet members and things like that. So Reddick, who's a staunch Republican and a Trumpite, said that's not true. We only need 52,000 employees to work on the audits and everything. Other employees would be hired for different reasons, but that has nothing to do with this $80 billion. So the Republicans are dead set against anything that the Democrats are going to do, and they lie and spew facts that are inaccurate. And one would have to realize that when they look at the shape that this country is in, right? And Reddick also said we only need to hire those people over the next 6 years. So it's not like they're going to have an influx immediately. And many of them who are going to be hired are going to replace people who retire or leave for other jobs. So there's a lot of misinformation that is being spewed out about the Inflation Reduction Act. And I caution everybody on both sides of the aisle to do your research. Pay attention. Don't listen to the members of either party because they tend to stretch the truth a little bit to their advantage, one way or the other. That's part of politics in this country, which has gone to shit. So I leave you with that this morning. $80 billion, and I don't know whether it's worth it or not. Have a great day. Bye.